These guys sort of they all think they have this illusion of choice, like I can do whatever I want to do. And we kind of have a younger generation now that doesn't always get told no. They don't always get told this is exactly how you need to do it. So they have this illusion that they have all these choices. But the fact of the matter is if you want to be good, you really don't have a lot of choices because it takes what it takes. You have to do what you have to do to be successful. So you have to make the choices and decisions to have the discipline and the focus to the process of what you need to do to accomplish your goals. And all these guys that think they have a lot of choices are really, sort of sadly mistaken. And I think, as we all have done with our own children, they learn these lessons of life as they get older. And sometimes the best way to learn is from the mistakes that you make, even though we all hate to see them have to make them. And we don't really condone it when they do.
Hello and welcome to the Blue Abroad Show. Monday, the 17th of March, 2025. It is the wrap-up of round one, start of the season. Paul Sebastiani is with me. Hello, mate.
Hello, Terry. How are you?
I am... It's weird. I had this happen yesterday with the ratings. I'm angry, and I'm more angry with every sleep that I get about what happened on Thursday. But then there's just this sense of, okay, we're kind of like together again, and like it'll be a bit therapeutic, and like we're sighing after one round already,
Yeah. It's we're in no rush to have grand finals define us, and it's all good. It's only one game. We're accountable together, and everything's okay at the football club. We'll leave it to the experts inside the four walls today. I'm blindly optimistic today. I think we'll be fine this year. I think we'll be good. Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. So it's just going to be one of those weeks. Usually I don't remember the last time there was this type of loss so early in the year. Usually it comes later in the season. Actually, no, they usually do it at least once or twice or three times a year. But so much. Well, I wouldn't even say hope. It was just no hype. It was very much bounce the ball Thursday. Let's get on with it. Let's move on from 10 goals to nothing in the elimination final. Let's move on. Let's let the footy do the talking, amongst all the scandal and the injuries, and let's move on. The boys are ready to take ownership, and then you just get there and you're so excited, and then you see it again and you're like, what's going on? Is it the start of something bad? Is it just how can you excuse not being ready is really the questions that come up.
Yeah, it's all our fault. Yeah. For demonize the fans, it's the worst fan base in the world. It's all our fault. Yeah. Don't abuse the players. Don't get angry at them. Don't be upset at them. Heaven forbid you ask them for more. But it's all good. We're all good. All good. Smiles, rainbows, unicorns, gold, treasure. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, we're all happy. Yeah, be happy. It's only one game according to the players, and as the coach said, we're extremely disappointed, is what he said post game, and I suppose he is extremely disappointed, is what Michael Voss said after the game. So I'm glad that he is.
I thought they were quite frankly pissed off was the rhetoric that I got after the final in 2024, and even just the way it ended. There was a feeling of on the inside that everyone was quite pissed off.
Yeah, but no one takes the blame for it, do they?
No. But that was also one game. Yeah, that was also just one game.
Yeah, it's all one game, isn't it? Yeah, you can probably date it back to 2022 against Adelaide when our season capitulated at that particular point in time, when no one wanted to take responsibility for getting it wrong. I've never seen under this tenure and never seen anyone in this core group actually put their hand up and admit that they got it wrong and take accountability for a loss. No one does it. The coach has never done it. The leaders have never done it. Senior players have never done it in front of media. Everyone's scared. Everyone's scared to say they want to win a premiership. Everyone's scared to say they want to win top four except for the CEO, or they want to make top four except for the CEO. Everyone dips their toe into the cold water and then wants to retreat to the warm towel. And then they dip their toe back in again and then they retreat to the warm towel. And the process continues. It's one of those ones where the more things change, everything stays the same. And that's what's happened to this club at the moment. And I want to commend Joey, Dan, and Jules for their 2.5-minute show last night, because that's what they deserve. You know, what do the club want from us? What do they want from us? I don't know what they want. What do they want? What more can we do? Tell me what more we can do. What more can you do? What more can I do? What more can Pommy do? What more can Joey do? What more can Jules do? Dan, Rock, Mars, everyone in the grandstands. You know, demonize the fans. You know, it's all our fault. 30 years of nothing and misery, but we still rock up. We still pay for our memberships. We still pack out the crowds. We still have huge home average attendance. They're going to get 85,000 there again on Thursday night, even after that debacle against Richmond. And we'll probably just see the same thing. I fear that on Thursday night. I don't want to get into it too early, which we will a bit later. But my fear is that it's going to be one of those games where we don't get blown out of the water, but we just can't win. And that's the worst part.
Oh, like before do you remember when we couldn't beat a top four side and it was always just that there was just always that gap?
Yeah.
And we'd give a shake of it, but it would be like, oh, well, at least we got within 4 goals. Yeah.
It's just players just getting, they were getting shown up by 18-year-old kids, and not 18-year-old kids being shown up by 18-year-old kids, 26, 27, 28-year-olds being shown up by 18-year-old kids who hadn't stepped foot in front of 80,000 fans at the MCG, who were able to deal with pressure far better than 150 gamers, which is, I don't even know if it's embarrassing. Yeah, it probably is embarrassing, I suppose. Yeah, and you'll never be able to train that out of them, because that's just what they've shown under. Wasn't even pressure. It's Richmond round 1. What pressure? What pressure is there? I don't know. What pressure? What pressure is there? I didn't feel pressure in the grandstand. I know I'm not out there on the field. Well, what pressure is there? Expected to win. And anyone who says, "Oh, I saw it coming," No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No one saw that coming. We're
Not up
expected
41.
to win. Mate, we're 41 points up. You ever seen players in a 40-minute patch just capitulate the way they did? You can't reverse that. It's irreversible. That's always going to be there. I don't think people realize how significant this loss is for this group. If there was an inkling of disbelief inside the playing group prior to this year, that's just done it, I think, until proven otherwise.
It definitely had. I mean, I know that we can get emotional after losses, and especially when there's expectation, but that one was one of the bad. That was not just. That was one of those ones. Like that was one of those bad one, like real bad ones that rocks the foundations of trust, belief, to the point where I'm struggling to find someone that isn't pissed off. Like the level of pissed off that I've seen from us is it's amazing, because I think it's amazing because it shows the care factor from the fans, but in that there's also the sadness, because you just left wondering, are they also embarrassed, like as much as what I am to be there watching them?
No, they're not embarrassed. Embarrassed about what? They go off, they come off the field, they get paid, they go back to training, and the process starts again until they get taken off the list or until they retire. Now, apparently, from our leader up forward, we're not in a rush. So if he's not in a rush, well, then I'm not in a rush. if that's the mode he wants to go down. That's why I'm not getting angry or upset. But as the days have gone on, I've just got angrier and angrier and angrier because of what they dished up on Thursday night. I actually sat there for 45 minutes during that game, watching it all unfold. And the worst part about him, or the worst part about it, and Jack, no, I'm not misquoting him. I read the article. I read it 150 times, mate. It's on our work website. So don't say I'm misquoting him. I sat there, and after the game, I actually wasn't surprised by what unfolded, because we've seen this happen in patches before, but not at this rate. This was like the bottom just completely falling out and the ship just sinking, gone. I've never seen players panic as much as they did on Thursday night. Like McGovern, Doherty. That was the... I'll follow this club for 31 years, right? And that is the worst performance I've ever seen.
Wow.
Period. No, GWS, that Hawthorn game on that Friday night, we lost by nearly 130 points. That is the worst performance I've ever seen, period.
Is it? Did you think it's because it's... I mean, this is the 9th or 10th year from the rebuild.
I don't even look at that anymore. Like, that's not even a... That's not even... It's beyond my view now. That whole, this is 9 or 10 years in. It is what it is now. The players are experienced enough to understand what it's all about, and they don't. So, what can you say? Outworked, out-hunted, and out-fought by the worst team in football last season. They won 2 games last year. They won 2 games.
Yeah.
2 games. They got more inexperienced. They got less physical because of the young bodies that they brought in, and they showed us up for 2.5 quarters of football. Everything's safe. Everything's nice. Everything is too wishy-washy. Nothing's ever definitive with this club at the moment. Like I said, they dip their toe into the water and then they take it back out, and then they dip it back in and then they take it back out, and that's what you see with the results. Simple.
It does make you wonder, who do they think they're speaking to when they talk, when they write every word that is written and spoken? It's like, who do you think you're talking to? Because it's just that disconnect to the point where they get to the point where they get to where they are this week. They've been pretty silent since game day. Like, fair enough, well done. You shut up shop. You've foregone the engagement metrics that you would have gotten from content because we're losing, and well done. Kudos to whoever made that decision. But then there's so many other things, like the choice to put membership day the day after that game, which was planned, ads pre-recorded in advance, 4 a.m., 3 a.m., those ads start rolling on SEN. So, okay, so that's one choice. So who's in charge of that? I don't know. Well, that's one thing. Then you cancel it where you had an amazing opportunity to fucking face the brunt of it all. Sign up for a membership, call in, and I'll tell you exactly about last night. You want the passion when it's positive.
Yeah.
You want to embrace the passion.
Yeah.
You win, we win, 20% off at the Carlton shop. Embrace the passion and tap into the positive emotion. But you want to run away when the wrath is there, when it's not good enough. Where's the board? Where are the leaders of the football club? Like, okay, fair enough. You might want to protect a couple of the players. Don't put them out there on SEN the next day. Maybe you put the captain and the vice captain, maybe. But where's the rest of them? They don't want to talk about it when it's bad. They don't want to apologize when it's bad.
Honestly, say they fronted up for that membership day the following day on that Friday, right? How hard could it be to answer questions about a horrific loss the day after in comparison to you having to face 23 men every single week who are out to hunt you and physically destroy you and hurt you, because that's what the opposition wants to do. If you're fearful of dialogue and rhetoric from fans and people who critique you in media, Well, what hope in hell do you have when you actually take the football field?
Yeah.
You've got none. When you actually have to physically put it into action, what hope do you have if prior to that you can't cop the heat in dialogue? What hope do we have? There's no. It's just the bravest thing that they could have done was to double down and say, no, we owe an explanation for what happened last night, and we want to know, and we want you to all know that we're actually accountable to public figures, and we're accountable to you all. We're not just accountable to us internally, which of course, are they? I don't know. They talk about accountability after that game. I didn't see it in game. I didn't see it post game. I still haven't seen it. They're telling me about it. They're telling us about it. I still haven't seen it. I still haven't seen one person come out from the club and put their hand up and say, we got it wrong on Thursday night. We got it wrong. We weren't prepared correctly. We weren't prepared in the right manner. We got our tactics wrong. We got our mix wrong. We got our running patterns wrong. No one's come out and said it. No one wants to face the music.
I'd like to take this
chasm. I'll tell you what, it's a chasm into the coach as well, who is so indecisive at the moment. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's up in the coach's box and says, all this year I'm going to be in the coach's box. I don't know if that was direct feedback from players or coaches that they wanted him to be moved up to the box. And then what happened in the third term? He was down there on the ground again because he booked himself. That's why he was down there, because he knew what was happening was not working. So what do you revert to? You revert back to what you're comfortable with, right? And he's comfortable being down on the boundary line. And he reeks of indecision and indecisiveness at the moment. And that is also reeling off on the players and the team at the moment as well. And that's what you saw out on the field on Thursday night. Indecision, no one sure, lack of clarity. And that's what happens.
You just to go back one step about the accountability part, the quote from Justin Longmuir after the Freo Geelong game, you actually pretty much nearly quoted him with what you were suggesting. He said, I'll put my hand up. This is the coach. I'll put my hand up. I clearly didn't prepare them the right way. We'll review all aspects of our week.
Yeah.
Now, Vossi says that there might be stop talking, just do it, rhetoric, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fair enough. What's the balance of this was on the players and this was on the coach to prepare the players, in your view?
Well, for me, coming
into how are you coaching McGovern kicking the ball off the ground, mate? What are you doing?
Mate,
what are you doing?
That was
oh.
I don't know what he was doing there. That to me, that comes down to coaching. As much as it's the player, I understand that. But when have you ever seen Mitch McGovern do that? Never. I've never seen him drop that many marks. I've never seen him fumble that many times. I've never seen him kick the ball off the ground like that. I've never seen him not take that kick on, but he did take that kick on when there was 10 minutes to go and it was rushed and there was only a goal or so in it. And in that particular moment, I'm thinking, mate, relax. There's 10 minutes to go. Just have some composure. There's no rush in that particular moment. There is to a certain point, but just have some poise and composure. So for me, going into the season, and I know I sound like a parrot, and I've repeated this time and time and time again coming into the season on podcasts that I've been on prior with you, with everybody that I've spoken to. The two things that I'm looking at for our senior coach, right, is how he manages the egos and attitudes and what is our defensive discipline like. The defensive discipline in the second half was the worst I've ever seen it. And to me, that's all on the coach, because that is the messaging going through to players in order to be locked in for 120 minutes and ensuring that you know that you are in and engaged and locked in. And I can tell you now that there were people that left that field on Thursday that know deep down that they weren't. And you can see it. We don't have to know what goes on internally. I don't have to know the mechanisms. I don't need to know what's going on in club meetings to know that what they are doing at the moment is not good enough. Do you know who our last 3 wins have been against?
North, West Coast,
and Richmond. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's all that's been. And our form has been horrendous. How can you go out there, right, against Richmond, right, with all due respect to what they've done in the past, right? They've still got some proud veterans there who are premiership players, right? We went out there. We were not prepared for what they dished up to us in the second half. We were not prepared. They systematically dismantled us for 50 to 60 minutes of football, and we had no answers whatsoever. And when you don't have answers, what happens? You panic. And when you panic, what do? You try to clear the ball as far away from your area as possible. And that's what happened in that last quarter. When we won possession of the ball, Voss mentioned, we had 16, 17 inside 50s. We had nearly double their inside 50s. Yeah, but they were all rushed. They were not efficient. And our inefficiency is going to leave wins in the locker, and it's going to leave trophies away from our cabinet. Because if you're not efficient, you're going to leave results and performances out. And that's what's going to happen. So what more can we say? What more can we say? I've seen this story before, but I haven't seen the horror show that ensued in that second half like that. It was like every single little thing that we've seen gone wrong from Voss's start to now just all culminated into one disastrous 60 minutes. And everything that you've seen go wrong for the last 2.5 years culminated into one patch of football that just... It's like, when you put 10,000 little problems in the fog, and then the fog eventually clears up and you see this mountain of issues and you're like, holy, you just, sometimes you freeze. And that's what happened on the weekend. That's what happened.
The hypocrisy and the inconsistencies that come to my mind. I've got a few questions for you. Maybe I'm in the wrong in viewing this, so just correct me.
No. Go.
Right. Sam Doherty was deemed fit to play in a final 28 weeks after rupturing an ACL. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. Approximately 28 weeks. Yeah.
Sam Doherty was not deemed fit to play a full game in round 1 of 2025 after a full preseason. Is that right?
Was he deemed not fit, or was it just based on form?
But if the form is what Vossi said in the press conference was the reason for him being the sub, then what form did he have going into the final? So which one was the wrong decision? And have we now decided to have selection integrity? Did we not have it then? Now we have it now. Like, what is it?
Well, no one's aligned. And this speaks to a larger issue at the club. Have you, and when I look at people who front up media from the club, right? Coaches, CEO, footy boss, captains, players, whoever it may be. Are they all aligned with the same vision when they get asked similar questions? Do they answer the questions in a similar fashion with that determination of when someone asks Adam Chera, what's your goal this year as a football club? Does he answer the exact same way that the CEO answers, that the captain answers, that the footy boss manager answers? I can guarantee you that that's not the case, because Brian Cook comes out and says, up in lights, top 4. That's exactly what he said, right? Then Harry Mackay comes out and says, obviously, that's our goal, but grand finals, it doesn't define us. We're not in a rush, right? Then you've got Michael Voss, who comes out before the season even starts, and he's apologising for losses that haven't even happened yet. He's saying sorry for things he hasn't even done yet. So everybody is trying to protect themselves except the visionary up the top. And the issue is the visionary up the top is gone. He's leaving at the end of the year. And Graham Wright's going into that role.
And the guy that was his right-hand man stepped down. The president, CEO, who were the real strong pillars of this whole thing for the last couple of years. Cookie's on the way out. Sayers is already out. So you've kind of had to scramble and get new leadership at the board level. Don't know enough about Rob Priestley to know what he's doing. Don't even know him. Don't even know any of the board. Don't even know why Diesel's on the board. Is it because he played for Carlton? Is that why he's there? Or was it because he brings standards? Like, so many inconsistencies. Actually, now that you think about it, I had this thought the other day. What the fuck would any of them know what it's like to be a Carlton supporter in the modern era. They all grew up with a premiership or multiple. They all grew up, with premierships in their life. They all grew up in a world with no internet. What the fuck would they know about the modern fan?
It's a sense of arrogance and ignorance that I've seen a flag. So it's almost like, because I've seen it and done it, where's your motivation to really go out and get that next one? Do you know what I mean? Like that particular generation and those particular players and coaches have all been part of 3, 4, 5 premierships, right? Whether they're fans, whether they're players, whether they're board members, whatever it may be, right? But it also speaks to, and when you compare, look, I don't want to compare too much to other clubs, right? Because I do believe in the saying, don't compare yourself to who someone else is today. Compare yourself to who you are, to who you were yesterday, right? But when you look at a team like Hawthorn, look at the way they embrace the modern way. They're playing Travis Scott Fiend, walking out to Fiend before their game against Essendon. They're embracing GoPros at games. They're taking the piss. They're having a laugh. They're getting stuck into media. Their players are having to and fro's with media, Ginnivan and Cornsey and all that kind of stuff, right? We don't have that. Everything's nice. Everything's, we've got to protect. We're too scared. And I don't want people to conflate this issue, right? I don't want people to misquote but who are the real men at this football club? The masculine men, the leaders of men, the leaders of people at this club. Who are they? The figures at this club that take everybody on their shoulders and say, come on, guys, let's go. We don't have that. Name me one. Name me one. I can't think of one.
I don't know.
Brian Cook, he's a visionary. He's a level 3 A1 leader, right? His CV, his resume, the way in which he implements standards is the elite of the elite when it comes to Aussie rules football, right? And it came as no shock that as soon as he gets to the club, we've improved as a club on field, right? But my concern is that because of new people who have come in and implemented different ways, or is it because we've got just natural physical improvement out of young boys who have just become bigger and better and stronger because of that natural growth that they have, doing weights, running, playing football, right? How much of this so-called improvement can we allot to coaches and new people at the club compared to players just naturally improving to a point? I don't know what the answer is. There's and I don't want, look, and again, I don't want people to conflate this issue and people are, he doesn't like women. The club, right? And I want people to listen, right? Don't have your ears painted on when I say this, right? I want people to properly listen, engage yourself in this discussion. The club itself, right? The club itself, the Carlton Football Club, it is the feminization of this football club has reared itself up over the last decade, right? Where they don't want to embrace that real hard, tough standard of brutality, right? And that's a masculine trait, right? That's just the way it is, right? Irrespective of whether you think that's right or wrong, that's just the way it is. We don't embrace that side of things. We don't have proper masculine, real tough, hard leaders of men. Patrick Cripps is that guy. But how much can the man do, Terry? How much can he do, mate? Someone else step up. Someone else step up. The bloke is bleeding for the club every single week. What more can he do, mate? Harry, my goodness, on the weekend. Oh, mate, that's one of the worst performances I've seen from him. He had no pride in his performance. None whatsoever. It was shoulders lumped over. Oh, again, I've been beaten again. Oh, I've been beaten again. Oh, I've been beaten again.
There was an acceptance. There was an acceptance of the fate. I often have this pushback internally with the past and the present and the generational gap. And I made the comment, I think it was last week with Chloe, around, I went to the Hall of Fame and I heard Percy Jones talk. I never watched the guy play, but like 78 years old, and you just see life coming out of him, like there was an
Yeah.
honor, like
Yeah.
a real
Yeah.
honor to be a part of it. And I don't see it from the way these guys play until they're in a hole and the world is lashing out and they want to prove the external world wrong. But it's not naturally, it's either being coached out of them, not just by the coaches, but by the club, because they're told how to speak. They're kind of sterilized. They look like they're sterilized at times. And it's like there's no movement or language with honor. Like there's no honor. Like what does it mean? Like we talk about it like it's an honor. This is all a privilege to be talking about the club and to have it there. I don't wear polos because I don't deserve to wear the monogram. I didn't play the game, that kind of thing. Like, where's the honor? Like you're a part of something. It's not like it's almost like it's a job. That's all right. I'll take my 25K match payment, whatever it is. It's just, it's all messed up. The body language, it's all messed up,
mate. Has Nick Haynes ever dropped that many marks in a game?
Look, the only silver lining I'll try and find from that performance was Akers had a similar moment in his first game. The bright lights. Remember, he dropped the mark. I think we drew. Or we just won, whatever it was, and then he came back and rectified. And but yeah, that was yeah. Obviously, that was poor. I thought we were getting a cherry on top player, and he looked a little washed. But I'll give him the opportunity
of course,
rectify it. But fucking hell, man.
What? So say this group of players and these leaders in this club continually come out and say, we want flags, we want premierships. I'm talking every time they step out into media. This is the standard. This is what we want. This is none of this wishy-washy stuff to try to temper expectations or to try to zone in and get some perspective and drop your eyes and focus on what's right in front of you, right? Because that's just going to happen day to day when you rock up at the club, right? But deep down in your mind and deep down in your heart, right, if you're not saying that, it will never manifest. If you're not thinking that, it won't ever manifest. And so what if you say, I want to win a premiership this year, or I want to make top 4 this year, and you don't make it? And you cop the heat. Even if you do cop the heat, does it matter? Honestly, does it really matter? If you cop the heat and you cop a huge brunt of criticism from media or fans or whoever, do you get what I mean? So say you say, like Brian Cook comes out and says top 4, Cripps comes out and says top 4, Chera comes out top 4, Mackay top 4, we want a flag, we want a flag, we want a flag, we want a flag. And that's just the rhetoric. And say we don't get there, right? And say we finish 6th or 7th and we go out again in the finals, right? Players will probably moved on, coaches will be moved on, the club still remains. The criticism's still going to come. My fear is, what are you scared of? What's there to be scared of? I don't understand. You've got the backing of people, irrespective of if they criticize you or not. Because when you play poorly, we'll be on you. But when you play well, we're going to love you harder than anybody, right? So it's the balance between the two, yeah? But my problem is that they operate in this middle window that leaves you in no man's land. And that's where we are. We're in that middle patch where, are we really a bottom 4 team, Terry? I don't think so. But are we really a premiership contender? Based on what we've seen over the last couple of seasons, you would have to say no. But you can also say the same for us being a bottom 4 team. I don't think we're a bottom 4 team, but we're stuck in this middle ground. And someone and a group of a collective have to pry us out of it and get us over the line.
But Paul, we have the largest business network in the Southern Hemisphere.
I don't care. I really don't care, mate. Tap into that then. Tap into that. Raise the standards if you do then. There is no diving into the deep end with this club and reaching for the next galaxy, right? In fear of, if we're going too far down one way and we actually don't make it, then then we're going to cop the wrath. So what? Cop it.
So who's making that decision? Who is really making the decision? Who is at the table having the conversations about, right, this has happened. What are we going to say? How are we going to manage the message? I want to know who's on that table. And what would they know?
That's a very good question.
Because I'll be honest,
Uh,
is that even the real Michael Voss in press conferences?
No,
or is he,
no,
this happened to Teague,
no,
this happened to Bolton,
no.
and maybe during his real life, like Mick was the one that actually was one of few that started calling it out for what it was. And I mean, we all turned against Mick because he was Collingwood and this and that, but it's like, Vossi, you're going to get sacked if it continues down this way. You may as well just be brutally honest in the I mean, I would only assume he's more honest to the players and what he is in the press conferences. So who's controlling him and why?
Your coach and the personality of your coach will come out in the recruitment and the way in which you play, right? So Michael Voss was a contested monster, right? And funnily enough, that's been our midfield from the moment he got in there to now. And that hasn't changed. It's still the same names that are going through there. Hewitt, Cripps, Chera, Walsh, De Koning, right? If that's your brand and contested football is your brand, you've got to grit your teeth in that type of mold. And then that same has to be said when you spread your messaging as well, right? But my fear is that everything has become cliched with him. You know, he's talking about, you've got to write your own story and you've got just people really want to hear that. You know,
you know what I mean? Smell disingenuous. People know when someone's not being authentic. They smell it. Yeah. And when you watch press conference after press conference after press conference, after media release, after email, there's a smell to it.
Look, I understand to a point, and publicly you've got to protect your players up to a point, right? And you've got to protect yourself to a point. But then there also becomes a point where you've got to let people in. You've got to let people in because then it just manifests itself out on the field with what we see. Players timid, players playing within themselves. And for me, it's not so much lambasting the players in a press conference or anything like that. It's more just being direct and firm and assertive with the way in which you talk post-game. Like that post-game press conference, just very wishy-washy, very murky. It wasn't direct. I mean, that's one of the worst performances I've ever seen. That's one of the worst performances under Michael Voss's tenure,
if not the worst. That is the worst under his tenure.
And I don't know what he did behind closed doors. I don't know. But it's very difficult to get in front of that camera post-game like that when your emotions are running and lie.
Yeah.
Right? Very, very difficult to do that, right? I mean, also, the line of questionings was very, very, very meek. Very, very soft, right?
Yeah.
So a journalist too, and people have also got to put it on the coach to try and get an answer out of him as well. So... Look, I've got a lot of concerns, and I think we all do. And you know, people who are saying it's only one game, it's not just one game. This is one game based on the culmination of many, and that's the problem. And our form from the middle half of last year has not switched. I just cannot understand how they were not ready for what happened in the second half.
Geelong, round 7, 2024, I believe it was. Remember? That was unacceptable.
Yeah. And then he put that away.
Why?
I don't know.
Who is in his ear?
I don't know. Look at, right, and look, GWS are completely talented. Hawthorn are very, very talented, right? I mean, are they that much more talented than us? Are they that far ahead of us? Right, that they're in another universe, they're in another stratosphere. No, they're not. They're not, right?
No.
But when I look at the head figures of their groups, right, look at Hawthorn and Sam Mitchell. They let Channel 7 cameras in for the majority of their preseason to record what happened on a day-to-day basis, right? Look at Mitchell's eyes. Look at his eyes. Look at Kingsley's eyes. When they talk, you listen.
It's vicious. It's got venom to it.
It is, but there's also a lot of love as well I'm not telling you because I don't like you. I'm telling you because this is the way it needs to be done. And this is the way we're going to win. And this is the plan. And I'm sticking to it, whether you like it or not. This is the plan and process that's going to win us games of football on a sustainable level. If you don't like that and you don't like the harsh feedback, you're not playing. Simple.
Then there's the other question I've got. Binns, Moya, Lemmy, Wilson. What the hell's going on with their development?
Well, Jackson Binns, I was very, very harsh on him in the preseason. And he probably just quite simply seems to not be good enough. And, I've heard things and that his attitude's not really at the level. I don't think he's physically ready anyway. Moya and Wilson, look, in his draft year, sort of moved on the ball as well. But is he physically ready? Moya, is he physically ready? We saw some really nice patches in the back end of last season. I'd like to see there be. This is the perfect week to ring some changes, mate. I'm talking 4 or 5. There are blokes out there on the weekend that don't deserve to play this week. And I know we've heard that so many times. But I'd be playing Ashton Moya. I would be playing Ashton Moya. You cannot tell me that there were small forwards or high half forwards in that game that Ashton Moya could not replicate or better their output on the weekend.
I'm sure there is the reality is that the coaches want all those boys to have developed to the point where they're ready to knock down the door and
yep.
so to speak. And yep. I'm sure Vossi and the selection committee aren't sitting there saying, oh, wow, how can we fuck with their careers and let's not play Ashton because we don't like him, right? So I'm sure there's a reason why he didn't play. Yeah. But then the question comes up. We removed the list cloggers, the guys that were perennially injured. That was the focus. Durability was a focus in the offseason. We got rid of a couple of guys that were playing, Kennedy and Owies because we wanted to evolve things and create more cap room. So it's like, okay, you're doing that. You've got faith in the kids coming through or the list that's coming through that they're going to be able to step up. You didn't also make any changes to the coaching box. So you got faith that that's going to hold up. Cool. We'll reserve judgment about that maybe till later in the season. But then now none of those guys who have had a couple of preseasons now, like their development, has it been stunted? Are they not good enough? Has something happened between trade period and now? Like not even one of them is ready?
Well, I'll also tell you what a big issue about it is as well, is that just to go on the players that played on Thursday night, I'm seeing Motlop and Evans at half-back. Pommy and I had this discussion after the game. It's beggars belief seeing Jesse Motlop at centre half-back, Francis Evans up at stoppages, Lucas Camporelli up at stoppages, attacking players being played in the back half because we like to flood that area and try to get back the other way. And then even if those players came into the team, if they're being asked to do those particular roles, it's not. I don't think it's amplifying their skill sets. And look, Moya's performances in the VFL have not quite been up to standard just yet, right? But he could also be one of those players where if you put him into the AFL side with AFL quality around him, we'll see the best of him. It was like with Harry Mackay, right? I know it was shocking on Thursday night, but he was one of those players where you looked at him in the VFL. He never really kicked 6 or 7 goals in the VFL. He had some nice performances, but he goes up into AFL level when he's physically ready and the delivery's better, the running patterns are better, and he starts to perform at a level. The same could be said for Charlie, right? But my concern is, right, is that what they're asking to do of these players in these attacking areas is actually not amplifying their strengths. Like the inefficiency with which we move the ball on the inside forward 50. I mean, we leave so many goals out on the park. It's just ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Players getting in the way of each other. And the worst thing for me on the weekend, the move that just racked my brain was Jack Silvani going up forward with 15 minutes to go. Because that is acceptance of defeat. And that is basically, you almost don't even have to tell us that what you did was wrong and the decision you made was wrong going into that game, right? Because we got no output from Kemp. Mackay was poor. The forwards and half forwards you played there that you shifted in there were all poor. Jack Silvani, the guy who you shifted out of those particular roles to bring down back, has gone up forward and outshone them all in 5 minutes of football. So why can't he come out and just say, look, put my hand up, got that wrong? Simple. He almost doesn't even have to say it.
When's the last time you heard that? Like, I got it wrong. That's on me.
That's what I said at the start of this show. From everybody there. No one says it. No, I can't remember. Someone would have to clip it up. I cannot remember the last. I'd be so proud. I'd be so happy if they came out. We lost on Thursday, and he just simply not put up a wall, but just stopped journalists from asking questions and just said, before we start, didn't have the guys prepared properly. Clearly, our second half was terrible. The second half messaging was poor. We got a lot of moves wrong in the second half that clearly didn't work. Players are not absolved from skill errors and the decisions they made on the day. But as a coaching group, we take onus for it because we got a whole heap of tactics wrong. No one says it, whether they say it internally or not. Even if you say it internally, are you really, really taking accountability when you say it behind closed doors? Do you know what I mean?
And also, when they do say it, it's always led with a probably. So, for example, the Jack Silvani thing. In the presser, I think Bossy said, probably should have made the move a little earlier.
Oh, well, probably, is it one or the other? And again,
like
right?
Beautifully given to you.
Perfect. It's perfect that you said this because this is a chasm into the whole club. We probably should be winning a premiership. We probably should be aiming for top 4. We probably should be this. We probably should be that. Nothing is definitive. Nothing is black and white. Everything is grey. Everything is murky. It's dip the toe in, then take it out. Oh, I probably should have done this, or I probably should have done that. Anyone can say that. I probably should have invested in crypto coin 15 years ago. Great. Brilliant. Great.
It's just I really thought the way last year ended was a perfect opportunity to put that line in the sand. Then the very next game we see when they're all healthy and they've had the preseason, it's like, all right, let this be the line in the sand moment. And beat Hawthorn on Thursday or whatever. Like, oh man, it's.
How many lines in the sand can you draw, mate? We're going to have a sandcastle soon. How many lines in the sand we're drawing, mate? We're going to be out in the Sahara the way we're going at the moment. Can you? Have you got that Jordan Russell vision? Did you say that? Can you get that up on here?
Do you mean the pre-game meeting, the forwards meeting?
The coach, the forwards meeting, right? The forwards meeting.
Stand by.
Right. So now I reserve judgment on this, right? And when I first saw it, I just quote tweeted the Rock's eyebrow, the people's eyebrow, and I thought,
yeah,
look, I'm not a qualified teacher, right? I'm not a qualified coach, but I would like to think I know what motivates me when I'm sitting down with a lecturer or a teacher or someone who's trying to show me the right way with regards to work or whatever it may be, right? And when I first saw this vision, I thought, is this a piss take? Is this kindergarten class? Are we serious, or are we fair income? Are we a professional football club? Or is this just a meet and greet and a get together and taking the piss? Right. So I don't know if there's any teachers out there, qualified teachers, but I know that if I'm trying to get a message across to a group and they're sitting down, I ain't sitting down on their eye level, mate. I'm standing up and I'm being assertive with the messaging. That's not what I saw, right? But I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I thought, okay, I haven't played a proper game yet. It's a preseason. Let's just let it unfold first, right? Then I saw our forward pressure against Richmond, right? And I've got the number here in front of me. their rebound 50s, right? I know we had 65 inside 50s against them, and naturally that number is probably going to skew upwards when the opposition has rebound 50s, right? It's probably going to be high. Richmond recorded 55 rebound 50s, right? So ball going in and then the ball coming back out. Ball going in, ball coming out 55 times, right? It is 8 higher than the second best season average so far. Richmond, 55 rebound 50s. The next best is 47, the Brisbane Lions. Then you've got West Coast on 47. Of course, it was going to be skewed there because the ball lived in their back half. GWS with 46, Port Adelaide 44. Richmond had 55 rebound 50s. And when I look at that forward meeting of Jordan Russell talking about when the ball goes over your shoulder, you and go. And you put the pressure on and you chase and you tackle. Doesn't matter if you're 200 centimeters. Doesn't matter if you're 170 centimeters. You got to go. They had 55 rebound 50s out of their back half, right? That is 14 more than their average for 2024, Richmond.
Wow.
Is the message getting through? Are the details right? Is the discipline right? Clearly not. Clearly not. Worrying. Very, very worrying. And I was very concerned. You know, you had blokes just sitting back, taking notes, legs crossed, wearing sandals. Motlop taking the piss about his height on the website. Where's the assertiveness from the line coach, Terry? Where's the assertiveness from the teacher? When it's time to learn a lesson, you sit down, shut up, and you listen. When I ask you to engage, and I stand up while I'm doing it. So I control the room.
So this is where, by the way, if someone can find the link to that video, please send it. I'm struggling to find it. What I took from that piece of footage was a bit of a message that, hey, you guys, the players, have decided this is what you want your standard to be. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, players taking a little bit more accountability for what their standards are. Okay, maybe there's been a bit of a shift and the coaches are less authoritarian as what David Parkin described it in 1995. He sort of gave up a little bit and had to hand it over to the players a little bit to take control of it. And I thought, okay, maybe there's signs of that. That's what's going to separate the good team from the great team, when the players can take ownership. And then you see round one, and then you're like, oh, wait, maybe they do need to have a little bit more force with the instruction, because they clearly are not showing that they're capable of taking ownership.
Well, what's the saying? When you let the prisoners run the prison, anarchy, chaos.
And that's where it's just the inconsistencies and the hypocrisy rears its head.
Yeah. And again, you know, people will say, oh, you're not a coach. What do you know? Right. I know when I see that message and I look at that and I see no assertiveness and I see it all being very murky, and then I see what happened on the field on Thursday night, you have your thoughts confirmed, don't you? All of that game was, like I said, the prisoners run the prison, anarchy, chaos. And that's what we saw. Everything was just chaotic for us in that second half. No one was composed. Nobody took their time just to take a breath, survey the situation, take control back of the game. On-field accountability, not after the fact. I don't want to hear it after the fact. I want to know who took on-field accountability when it was not going your way. No one did. No one did.
Did the ratings yesterday with Pommy, right? And you just look at the raw numbers. If you had told me, I found the forwards meeting video. Stand by.
Okay.
If you had told me, De Koning's had 32. De Koning's had 28. Cripps has had his 32. Yep. Walsh has had his 25 and a goal. Hit the scoreboard. Cherry's had his 25.
Yep.
It's like, how could you lose?
I know. All your prime movers, all your names have touched the football against Richmond. And it just highlights the inefficiency as well ahead of the ball, and our inability to defend when we don't have the ball as well. They had 40 inside 50s, but all of them they were all quality in that second half. I mean, and even some of the goals in that first half that they scored. I mean, Nankervis out of a throw, or was it a ball up or a throw in? Was it? It was a
the ball up, and he just like whacks it off the ground, and it just goes
One,
through.
right? Lynch alone in the goal square off a centre bounce. Okay, right.
You know the one that
Nankervis's first goal. The bloke jumped this high off the ground and got the ball.
You know the one that will forever haunt me, like I promise. Because I mean, a lot of us that watch, like we remember key moments. It's Haynes falling over McGovern, the ball stays in, they don't kill the ball, then like the Richmond player just kicks it to the goal square goal, and I'm like, this is Aaron Mullett running around. This is 2018. This is
what? And a big shout out to AD. Big shout out to Adrian Deha. And we had this running joke during the week after the game. We've had it the last couple of days, right? And I say this facetiously. I would rather, right? This is what I would rather at the moment, right? This is how bad it was. I would rather, in a day or two's time, the AFL comes out and says 10 Carlton players are having their betting accounts investigated for betting against this game. Right, rather than this actually being the reality of you were that bad, you gave up a 41-point lead to Richmond because you were that bad. I'm hoping that there's a betting probe into the game and 10 players are banned for 6 months because they threw the game. That's what I actually want to happen.
That's deep.
Because there's no outside of being horrifically bad, there's just no other explanation for it. And I don't want us to be horrifically bad.
Xenomeritis, we are full of malachias. God help us. Wake up.
Mate. We are.
Adrian Salerno. Meanwhile, Cripps turns 30 tomorrow. Oh, mate.
But see, this is the thing. He's another one. We're wasting his years, mate. Look, I don't want to say I feel for him, right? He's a grown man, right? He's an elite footballer, mate. He doesn't need our sympathy, and he wouldn't want it.
No.
He don't want it, right? Look, it's not about the Messiah complex, but we've got these blokes at the peak of their power where someone's got to come along with them as well. Look, but even too, like as much as he's a good footballer, he's the captain of the club. So he's also got we have to question his leadership too. As much as his output is great.
Yeah.
Right. And I love him as a player. Don't think that that's not the case, but he's also got to take, what's he saying to the group? For the messaging to not get across, is he doing too much? Is he trying to do too much? Because I saw Wiedering try to do too much on Thursday night. I don't think he quite had that trust of Haynes in front of him, and the same can be said for McGovern. They didn't. How many times did you see blokes go up for the same ball?
Yeah,
and crash into each other? I think Bucky summed it. I think he said there were about 5 or 6 times where blokes would just go up for the same ball with no one around them and just crash into each other. So does that come back to trust? It comes back to defensive discipline. It comes back to selflessness. It comes back to cohesion. But they're all buzzwords. We've heard these words so many times, mate. So many times.
I'll give you the best phrase for what needs to happen. 3 letters. CTS. Just cut the shit.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Let this be the year from now on. Just cut the shit. Stop. If you are disconnected, if you do not know how to speak to your people, find out how to speak to your people. Yeah. Get in touch with them. Speak to them. Understand who they are as human beings.
Yeah.
Because mate.
Yeah. I mean, are we overcoached?
Don't patronize us with, we need the blue baggers, and you don't like us.
No, they would be, if they were watching, and I'm sure there are people at the club and players who will probably watch this hour and see bits and pieces of it, right? They don't want to hear it. Of course they don't want to hear it. You're being told you're not good enough, right? And the argument on their end would be, who are they to tell me I'm not good enough? I'm the one actually out on the field. And I understand that. I understand that sentiment. But like you say, mate, if they ain't going to hold the standard up, guess who's going to? Us.
Well, yeah, look, work that's so much work that's got to be done everywhere. It's like a million holes in a wall and you just plug in one at a time and the next one falls and you got to plug that one and then that one's leaking and that's the nature of life, and that's the nature of probably most football clubs. They're not all perfect.
No,
There's issues underlying, and it's just about just managing it for as best as you can and hoping that you get on a nice run, and winning can help. Winning football games can help. Boost morale, and but obviously, you sign on the dotted line to play for the club, or work for the club, or lead the club in any capacity. You sign up for the amazing passion when it's going well and the passion when it's not going well. You can't have one without the other. You can't hide when it's bad. Like the whole canceling the SEN membership day, like it just speaks about it.
Only we could be the first club to make that happen.
The upstairs couldn't handle the heat, so they went into their shell. What do you want the players on the field to do, mate? It's the same thing.
That's what I mean. You asked where is this coming from? It's not just one person. It's a collective. It's that little, it's that little bit of, it's like it's death by a thousand cuts. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's one person might not do one little thing and you're like, that's okay. Then one person might not do one little thing again and again and again and again. And this is what I was saying, is that what you saw on Thursday night was a culmination of 10,000 little issues being put behind the fog. And then you know what Richmond did to the fog? They just cleared it all up and said, this is what Carlton looks like when it's all stripped back and it's all clear to see and the resolution's in 4K. There you go. That's what Richmond did to us. And you know what? I sit there. You know what I do, mate? This is how sick I am. This is how cooked I am, right? This is how sick I am, right? I sit there trying to come up with resolutions like, oh, what can I do? How can I help them? How can I make this club better? I take the onus of it. I don't know why. I just do. It's if do you know what I mean? I sleep there at night. I sit there on the recliner. I sit there in the car. I'm at cafes having coffees with mates and family and friends. And then I go to the club at press conferences. And then, I go to the club to the membership department. And I go to the club to buy memorabilia. And then I go into work and talk about it. And then I come here and I talk about it. And then I go to my bloody nonna who's 87 years old, who's having iron infusions and blood transfusions and talking about it, right? Trying to find a solution for it, right? I feel like I'm the one who's trying to. No, we're all trying to find out what's going on. Did you know what I mean? That's how crazy we are.
Mate, I sit here and take the phone calls after a game that, in reality, the fucking club should be taking. By the way, on that point, do not abuse the membership staff at the club who are on the phone taking those calls. The people who should be getting that energy are above those people on the calls. Those people on the calls, they're doing their best. They're just, I do feel for those people who are on the phone all day taking those phone calls. Like that's an emotional, spiritual thing. That energy, and even to the players to an extent, that energy's got to go to the club. Higher up.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's unfortunately that's just going to be the reality of it. Right. Of course. That's just going to be the reality of it. You either live in La La Land or you live in reality. Right. And that's, of course, you call that out, okay, right. Fair enough. Right. Even the membership department at the moment, they're trying to push shit up a hill at this point in time. Right. But the way I look at it is like Carlton, this is how, and this may be completely wrong, but I look at it and think the Carlton Football Club is not in the right place it needs to be and where I want it to be because of me. What am I doing wrong? Am I doing something wrong? Is it and am I not supporting correctly? Am I not rocking up and giving them the best energy I can? I don't know. But I look at it as my responsibility to try to make this club better. And to me, it's through dialogue. Everything is through dialogue, talking, being honest, being open. Everything is dialogue, because without it, you can't be anywhere. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Vic-wide renovations. What training do you do to improve efficiency being under pressure? That's a great question. That's a great question for maybe the presser.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's an interesting question. Well, they always say, mate, the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. If you don't like someone, tell them. If you don't like a certain passage of play, just tell them. There's no point building it up,
Can it be fixed this season?
It can be fixed. Everything can be fixed. Everything can be fixed.
Of course it can.
Yeah, of course it can be fixed. But they've got to want to fix it. That's the problem. Rather than going through the motions, they've got to want to fix it and come up with ways to be able to do that. Like it's dialogue, it's truth, it's honesty, it's authenticity, it's assertive, it's being aligned. No, there just seems to be a disalignment with the club at the moment. I don't like it.
What do you expect when the head of the snake falls 8 days into the year?
Yeah.
What do you expect?
It's true.
My fear was my deepest fear was that was the sign of things to come. And it's only one game. Let's just see the season out, get the full, gambit of information before we make that decision. But that's the deepest fear. The deepest fear was like, oh shit. Okay, year of revelations. These people aren't who I thought they were. I don't trust who I thought they were.
Trust is a big word, mate.
Yeah. And they, to be fair, they earned a lot of trust over the last couple of years, and they did. They earned a bit of trust, and I mean, you just
can be very easily lost, mate.
Very easily lost. Yeah,
very easily
lost. Looking ahead, because Thursday night it's the Hawks. I went to that game on Friday night. I watched them play against the Bombers. Interesting to hear Sam Mitchell's comments in the press conference afterwards. He spoke about how they lost the key similar to Richmond, the contested ball they lost. He sort of looked at the profile of the game and the statistical part of the game and the profile of what a winning team looks like, and he said that's not going to be sustainable. Hawthorn, he said that's not going to be sustainable.
It's the same for Richmond. I mean, if Richmond concedes 65 inside 50s every week, they're not going to win many games.
Absolutely.
Right?
So,
but they're efficient.
Exactly. Now, we did a good job of hitting the key metrics against the Tigers. I think we have the tools to do the similar things to Hawthorn at stoppage in particular.
Yeah.
But what is it really going to take to get the job done on Thursday?
Our issue is we don't have middle gears, right? We got none. It's either 100 miles an hour or zero, right? You saw it on Thursday night. We blow a team out of the water. How many times have you seen that under Vossi? We blow a team out of the water early, and then we hold on and hold on.
We think the game's over.
And then as the team slowly starts to creep back into it, what do you do? Oh no. And then it builds up and builds up, right? We need to somehow find the middle gears like we did. And it was a practice game, so you can't really take a lot out of it. But they were able to do it in that second and third quarter against the Giants, whose intensity was clearly down in that game, right? But work rate in that middle patch to find those third and fourth gears where you can control the opposition to a point and control the ball without being ballistic, but still being able to score. Can you chip the ball around and calm the game down, but also keep that scoreboard ticking over? I feel we don't have that, right? But I don't know. It sounds shocking. It's Messiah complex, but we do have one man in the armory that can make us have clear hearts and clear minds coming into Thursday night, and he's number 30, and he can win us this game.
Ah, dear.
He can win us this game. I know I feel sick saying it, but Charlie, we need a favour, brother. We need a favour.
Who are you going to be? I mean, there's a lot of players that need to respond, I would say, right? So I usually, when I get the thumbnails done, I usually pick a player in the thumbnails who's performed the week before and like give him a little bit, showcase him. I've gone different this week. Harry's on the thumbnail. Harry's attitude this week is number one on my focus. I might watch him for 4 quarters this week because I know he's better than what he did last week. I think everyone knows it. I know Harry knows it. I know all the coaches know it. His attitude on Thursday night, I'm so fascinated to watch it in these contests because he's going to have, is it disrespectful to say better defenders on him this week than last week? Because I don't want to disrespect the Tigers, but
yeah, 2 of the premier defenders on him, Barras and Battle, and maybe Frost.
So who for you is,
as in a player or just someone
player, like the ball bounces, where are your eyes? First thing.
Ball bounces.
Or the siren goes before the ball bounces, your focus.
It's on the body language of all of them. I'm looking at their eyes. That's what I'm looking at. And I want to see what Mitch McGovern does. I've never seen him play like that on Thursday. I've never, ever, ever seen him play that way on Thursday. Never. I don't know if it's got to him or something. Maybe he just had a bad week or something happened behind closed doors that we don't know about. But I've never seen him play with that much. I've never seen him play that frantically and with that much lack of composure. So he's one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. When you get that ball, are you composed? Are you backing back off the mark and taking 2 or 3 steps through the ball to actually hit those targets rather than taking 1 step back and then veering out on your left with 10 minutes to go when the game's in the balance and trying to chase the game? I don't want to see us force it. I don't want to see us force the issue because that's when it becomes all unraveled. But I agree with Harry. He's got to be the man. And the other guy I want to keep an eye out for, which will be hard to look at, Michael Voss. Is he going to go back up into the coach's box or is he going to be back on the ground again?
Based on his presser, he said it was to connect with the coaches and then later in game connect with the players.
So
he was very defensive against the question, I would say. He answered it pretty quickly as soon as the question was raised.
So your decision based on the 6 months leading into the season was that would be the case up in the senior box or up in the coach's box. But 70 minutes into a game against Richmond, you couldn't connect to the coaches or players. It doesn't make any sense.
The math ain't mathin'.
No. You're either connecting to them from up there and you've practiced it for 6 months and all of a sudden it just doesn't work, or you're doing it from down on the ground. Make your mind up.
Yeah.
Make your mind up. Make your mind up in a fashion that's going to deliver the message that you want to deliver to these players, that's going to get the best out of them, and stick with it. Stick with it. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
It's probably the first time that I've thought to myself, is he questioning himself?
Yeah, of course.
Is he really? And I know he understands the essence of winning. And I believe, I mean, I've seen suggestions that he was smiling in the press conference. I think you're taking the smile out of context. When the pressure comes, I also smile through it too because I love it. Like, come, bring it, come. Yeah. I love it. It's beautiful to me. It's my safe space.
Yeah.
So,
I think he might have also been smiling because he was in shock just at how badly it all capitulated. I was the same too.
He wasn't smiling because he's happy about what's going on. So anyone suggesting that, just chill.
It's a smile of unbelievable.
Yeah. So I've had the faith in him because I believe he understands the essence of winning, which, don't forget, before he was hired, the rhetoric was, all of us experts, we need someone in that joint that understands what it takes to win.
And he does.
So I think I believe, I could be wrong, I think he's got what it takes to ride the storm, come out the other end. And there's been suggestions already. He may or may not be the man for the job. I just can't fathom the idea of sacking a coach mid-season. You do this in the off season. You don't do this mid-season. That's my view. That's my view. So, and it's a natural reaction. I know that's an easy comment to make. Because in my view, if that's to happen, the whole department, why don't we start with the head of the football department?
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Brad Lloyd.
Why does he escape the criticism?
Well, he's not a seen face, is he? He's been there for a while.
2018. That whole department from then he's gone. Is that right now?
Yeah, not many. Yeah, there'd be no one left.
Russell was the last one.
Yeah. He's still there.
But it's all right because there's tickets to the fucking winery dick swinging contest in Adelaide in a few weeks.
Penfolds. Is that the one?
What are we celebrating?
I don't know.
What are we celebrating?
I know I'm not. I know I'm not. See, with someone like him, I do think that Graham Wright is a visionary, right? Because he's been in recruiting, he's led these big departments, and he understands modern football as well. So he's going to see a lot that he will like and not like, and he will make moves accordingly, right? So my faith is in him as well to lead that line. And people will say, he's going to be the CEO. He can't step into that arena. But all CEOs are different. Every CEO has a different skill set. Every CEO has a different background. Every CEO has a different strength, right? His may not be completely in finances and whatnot. His might be purely in football to a point, right? And that's fine, right? That doesn't really concern me, right? But again, someone like Brad Lloyd, he's the head of the football department. What are the standards that he's setting? Because all these players are at a point where they can't handle pressure. But I go back to round one against Richmond. Is that real pressure? Is that the pressure of 1 point up in an elimination final or prelim final or a grand final with it all on the line?
Yeah.
That's the issue for me. I don't want to undersell how bad of a loss that was and how detrimental that could be to this group, right? Because they're already on that edge of, do we really believe? Oh, we're kind of there, we're kind of not. And a result like that for senior blokes who were 3/4 of their way through their career might just be the last straw, and might be that moment where they just say, you know what? It ain't going to be enough, and we ain't ever going to do it. And that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that this particular, and I know we've said this before, but this particular loss could end us, or this core group. It could. Like I said, I don't want to undersell how bad this was, right? It is the worst performance I have ever seen following this club based on where we are, right? 2016, 2017, 2018, there were players going left, right, and center. We gutted the whole team. We had salary cap issues where we couldn't draft players. The club was a mess. We had no money. We had no facilities. And you can understand, okay, well, results are probably going to come up. What's their excuse for Thursday night, mate? Facilities there. Physically, they were all fine. Were there any players underdone going into that game? Cherry ripe.
Yep.
Right? Great preseason win against the Giants. Up and about. We've got a debutant, Lucas Camporelli. Brilliant. Another young kid, Cooper Lord. Great. What was the excuse? And that's my fear. My fear now is that it is just going to continue to seep in and seep in. And this could be a season ender. We don't know the narrative of this particular game. We won't know until the season plays out. It may be the kick up the backside. We may look back at this game and think, geez, what a year it was. How did we lose to Richmond in round one after what we did this year? Or it could be, I knew it.
Should have seen it coming.
I knew it.
Well, You know what my biggest fear is? So we learnt, you and I, part of this, the same age bracket profile.
Yep.
When the previous group, the Judd, Murphy, Gibbs era, we
Mm.
all made an assumption that 2011 was going to be, we really started moving. 2012, we started well, and then it
Yeah.
derailed. That
Yeah.
2011 semifinal against the Eagles was the peak of that group. Maybe the 2013 elimination final, if you see it that way, but I don't think we're going any further than that. We made a prelim in 2023. I've learned that you can't just assume that because it looks like you're on an upward trajectory that,
No.
my deepest fear is that prelim is the best thing this group will ever do. That's the fear.
Might be. It's a different group to that 2023 prelim, right? But in our minds, the core group has stayed the same.
Mm-hmm.
You got to improve on that, don't you, around that? And what we did last season was we thought, oh, okay, well, we improved on it because we were second. We were a game and a half clear at the pointy end of the season. And then you think, okay, capitulated and went downhill. We had a lot of players out. There were injuries. And you think, you know what? On the basis of the last two seasons, we're kind of there. Let's revamp, bring in some blokes, go again, stay stable. But then round one happens and you think, oh, and that's why everybody's upset because no one expected it. Right?
Well, you know what it's done also? No one's under any false illusions.
No.
Sometimes
and you know what?
season you get a few wins and you can say, oh, we're just banking them. Then there's like a split in the fan base of no, they're not performing well.
Yeah. And they have never faced this is the one thing. This is all new to this group, right? I'll tell you why it's new to this group. This core group of players, Cripper, Charlie, Weeders, Harry, Vossi to a point, right? It's all new because they've never copped this wrath after round one.
No.
Never. They've never had it. They copped it at the halfway point of the season. They salvaged it. They went on this amazing run, right? They haven't copped this after the first game because 2022, we beat Richmond. We broke the hoodoo. Yes, great. That's the sign of the change. Everything's turned. The tide's turning. Then the year after, we draw with Richmond and we think, okay, right. Then we get to that halfway point in the season of 2023 where they just feel the wrath over the fence. The coach is going to go. He's going to get sacked. He's finished. He's gone. Cripps is cooked. They're all stuffed. Then they go on this amazing run. 2024 happens. We beat Brisbane amazingly in the first game. Then we come out and beat Richmond. Then we go on this barnstorming run in the middle of the year, and then it all falls apart, but we still make finals. And the excuse, and you can, it's just, when you lose players and you lose key players, output's going to diminish. And when output diminishes, performances drop off. And when performances drop off, results drop off. So there was that little leeway of, okay, well, we're probably going to get these players back. We're probably not going to be as unfortunate as we were last year. It's probably an outlier with how many blokes we missed. All things equal this year, we should be back up there again, right? And then round one happens. Like it's never happened before under this group, right? And with this coach and with this manager. And now they feel the wrath and it's going to go one way or the other. This is either going to be the end of the season and we're going to look back at this moment and say, yep, telltale signs were there after round one. What we saw in round one has been a look into what's happened the whole season and we knew it and we're done. Conversely, it can also be, oh, that was the moment where it all switched for them again. I don't know. We won't know. But, mate, I'll back them to the hills. Irrespective of this criticism, irrespective of how hard we've gone at them, I'll be there every game. I'll be backing them every game. As soon as that ball gets bounced, we're cheering them. We're giving them our all.
You know what's amazing about Carlton supporters? Like, we'll give it. The second an opposition supporter tries to give it, straight to the fucking get out of it. Like it's defensive. It's amazing.
Yeah. How do you know your club more than? How do you know your?
Yeah,
how do you know my club more than me? Yeah.
I'll criticize my club, thanks.
Yeah, and look, rightfully so. I understand that, but sometimes that external criticism is good because it humbles you.
Yeah. Well, we're under no illusions.
We all copped out, even on teams. I'll put my hand up. I was looking at this game this week because I thought I'm looking at the teams. I'm looking at Richmond. I'm looking at Carlton. I'm thinking, mate, this is a fait accompli, isn't it?
Yeah.
$3. We've got more experience. We've got players who've, belted the suitcases out of them halfway through the point of last season, won by 10 goals. But We all got made to look like fools, all of us. And this is why I'm looking back at, and I said earlier, is this my fault? Was I arrogant going into the first game? And did that wear off on everybody else? Because that was the rhetoric and that was the energy going into the game. All of it was, we get the job done round one, and then we're more focused on round two now. We're more worried about what we're going to do against Hawthorn because we know we're going to be 1-0. And then we cop a nice little jab to the nose, and we're bleeding early in round one.
Josh, spot on. Spot on. Yeah. So Vossi said in his presser last week, he suggested that Charlie and Fantasia would be available. So taking that information into account,
yep.
What would you do with team selection this week, given the VFL played a practice match over the weekend, or on Friday it was at 11 a.m.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'd be making 3 or 4 changes, no doubt about it, because there were just some efforts and some performances in that game that deserve omission. And it's also, I think we need to change up the mix a little bit as well. I think, and my fear, I know our talls are not exactly all dour, but it just seemed it didn't seem mobile enough. It didn't seem zippy enough back there on the weekend, and it didn't seem decisive enough on Thursday night. So I think they have to remove one of Jack, or they have to remove one of Silvani or Haynes from that back line. It needs to get smaller. I think Boyd has to come in.
Yeah.
I think Boyd has to come in.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably drop Haynes. That's what I want. I want it to be Wiedering, McGovern, Boyd, and maybe Silvani, right? I don't want Haynes. It just seems too tall to me back then from what I saw on Thursday night. It didn't seem mobile enough. So I want Boyd in. I want Kemp out of the forward line. Charlie will come in for him. He was horrendous on Thursday night. He ain't a key forward, mate. Irrespective of what he did in the preset. If he can't do it against Richmond, he got no hope of doing it against anyone else, I don't think. So I don't want to see him up forward. I think Charlie will come in for him. I'd like to see Jack at half forward, to be honest. I want to see him at half forward. I personally, I prefer him at half forward. I like him at half forward, but I can understand that maybe they're stifling the development of a guy like Moya if they give the resources and time and effort to Jack in that role. So I understand why they've made that move. But I'd be dropping one of Haynes or Jack or Mitch McGovern from that setup in the back line and adding in Boyd there, and then making the move and putting Kemp out of the team and putting Charlie back in. So it's those players. Charlie and Boyd have to come in. Who they take out and the magnets they move, I'm not 100% sure of. But those
what about Fantasia? Do you think he should be coming in for like a Frank Evans, for example?
Yeah, he'll come in for Frank Evans as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they'll make that move. No doubt about it. They'll make that move. Yeah. Orazio play. Orazio's form was good.
Yeah.
They pick him every week. They pick him nearly every week. So, look, again, I'm not tipping us on Thursday, just on the basis of evidence and what we've seen so far this year. Can we win? Of course we can win. Of course we can win. We can win. Charlie's he makes the bad look good. That's how
he's an energy. He's definitely an energy. He's a spirit and he's a soul. And
I'll tell you who else can make us win. Us.
Yeah.
There'll be 80,000 there. Ranting and raving and screaming. No, you know what?
Yeah, there'll be tension. We'll be pissed off, and we're ready for some excitement.
You know what? There's almost zero evidence to suggest that we will get the job done on Thursday after what we saw on Thursday night against Richmond, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen this story so many times before, where the dynamic of a game completely changes because of one or two players. And you're at home, you have to be aggressive. You have to be on the front foot. You've got to play with passion. You're going to be driven by your fans. All the heat's on you. No one's tipping them. Good. No one will be tipping them. No one in the AFL fraternity will give them a hope in hell on Thursday. Hope in hell. Maybe that's what they need. I won't tip like my footy tips. I won't tip us because I tip with my head. But we can win on Thursday. Of course, we can win on Thursday. Like I said, they're not. They're not that far ahead of us that it's an absolute fait accompli, and that's the beauty of the league. That's the beauty of the game, right? But it's what we don't do right. We don't do those small things right often enough to be the great teams. That's our problem at the moment. And then there's so many other issues behind that as well.
You activate the crowd with defense, not goals.
I completely agree.
Activate the crowd by sticking your tackles. That's how you activate the crowd, and the rest will come. Yeah. Because I mean, there's a thirst for the fans to want to get behind something. It's not. I mean, I don't think. Don't get it twisted. Like, everyone's pissed off. No one wants to feel this. Yeah. No one wants this.
It's almost like you almost like and at 3/4 time. And even at halfway points through that fourth quarter, you almost just want to run to that interchange bench and just like not grab them in a bad way, but just like, come on, guys, come on, like just.
Man, I get sick thoughts. Please. I want to go there and I want to glass myself so they know how much it means to me or them. Like it's sickening.
The judge's teeth grind.
I want my teeth to shatter because I'm grinding them so much, just so they know I love them. Yeah,
it's not like all this is not. You don't it's not from a place of hatred.
No.
When you love something and someone so much, your emotions and the way you critique, it's the outliers of both. Yeah. Can you love it too much? Yeah, you can. You can. I'd rather be that way, though. I'm just picturing Lee at the moment. I'm just picturing the great man. I'm just picturing him, mate.
Aaron. Oh, I love it. Does anyone else feel that? Like you just want to love them. You do. I'm trying to love them. I'm trying.
I know. I just want to get in front of them and tell them that everything I say about you is because I just want you to be the best. I want you to revel in the glory with all of us. And I want you to also feel the demise of when we feel like absolute horse crap as well. I've actually got a little task that I want the audience to complete. If you don't mind me doing this, Terry. But I will be at the press conference on Wednesday.
Yes.
Michael Voss's presser. And I would like if the audience could fire up a question and we can pick the best question that I will try to ask at the press conference.
Yeah. Do it
How's
now.
That? Let's do it now.
Yeah. Do it right now. What
Let's
question would you like to be asked?
What question? This is the beauty of partly being a fan and being part of this type of media world, and then also on the professional side of things and being in legacy media as well. So we've got this nice little, I'm like this bridge between the two, which is great, Maybe I won't get some sort of job opportunities in the future, but it is what it is.
The Duke Leverage Show. Haynes was playing like Weeders hasn't been King Commandant and needed to be first at everything. I just can't. Love you guys. # live the fantasia. Shout out the Duke Leverage Show.
Yes, indeed. It's good, man.
I liked what we asked earlier. There was a question earlier around how do you teach players to handle pressure and be composed under pressure? Like, how do you teach that?
Okay. All right. We can shortlist that. We can definitely shortlist that.
Richard, can you ask him when is it time for you to get angry at the player's performance?
Okay. All right. I'll put that one down. Hold on. Let me get the
get the biro out.
Yeah. Hold on. There we go. 1 second. There's the biro. There it is. There we go. A trusty biro and a little bit of paper. Righto. Yeah. What do we got there? Why does he think they lost? Why does he think they all lost confidence in their ability to play? the Explicit Empress. Good Instagram page, by the way.
Yep.
There's,
What is being done to mentally condition the players? I think, that sort of groups into that mental.
Yeah, did you see that on-time solution interview they did with the club psych?
Absolutely, I did.
Goodness gracious me. Bloody hell. Yeah, not too sure what to make of that. Again, I'm not.
Is the investment in the sports psychology, is that working? Like, how do you judge that?
Oh, Joe, this is good. This is recorded. You don't have to write it down. Yeah, but I'm old school when it comes to that. I got to write things down on pen and paper, mate. I should have the ink and feather. I reckon here. Is it working? Well, based off what I saw on Thursday night, the way in which they panicked under pressure. Oh, Leonard Puglia.
I like that.
I know what the response will be to that. Oh, but we are behind closed doors.
Mm.
All right.
Stefan Incantalupo.
One of the great names.
That's a great name.
Oh, yeah, I like this. This is good. Directly on coaches. Yeah, because this will elicit accountability. What specifically went wrong in the coach's box? Okay, yes, yeah, this is good. This is good. All right. I can tell you a lot went wrong, Stefan.
You might not want to ask the question like this, but
I'm sick of that. I'm fair dinkum sick of that, by the way. I get it, but
ooh, that's not a bad question. Is kicking accuracy used as a KPI when recruiting players?
Well, yeah, of course. It'd have to be. Yeah. Stephen, big shout out to Steve. He's a good man. Hope you're going well, mate. Hope you're going well.
Why is our forward line so congested when we're going into the forward 50? Why do players not lead at the football when they're in the forward line? There's one.
Yeah. John Holden. Yeah, okay. That's good. Forward 50 congestion. Mate, I could sit there and have a 30-minute diatribe with him, to be honest, mate.
Ooh. Does the team use a person, event, or something like that to channel desire to win, or do they freeball it?
Do the team use a person, event, or something like that to channel desire to win, or do they freeball it? Okay, right. Desire to win. Geez, mate, I tell you what, we've got a very insightful audience here. Yeah, mate. So much for being the worst fan base in the world. We've got some sensational questions, mate.
How do you find the balance between trusting the players as professionals to bounce back and implementing corrections from a coaching perspective?
How do you find the balance between trusting the players as professionals to bounce back and implementing corrections? That is fantastic. Tom Flynn.
Channel 9 is reporting there's breaking news at 9 p.m. on Footy Classified. Is that
right?
Related? Oh, dear.
Oh, yes. No, this is the probe into the 10 betting accounts. Yeah, it's good. We threw the game. I knew it. I knew it. They're checking the betting accounts. Yes. 10 players banned for 6 months because we threw the game. Yes, I knew it. We're winning on Thursday. Good. They sold the game to Vegas. I knew it. I bloody knew it. Good question, Tommy Flynn. This is very good.
Very good. I'm just reading. Lebowski. Oh, so Footy Classified is claiming they have breaking news about Carlton. All right. Well,
okay.
I guess we'll wait. We'll wait till 9.
All right. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Who's on Footy Classified these days, by the way? There's been some. I can't keep track.
It goes on for 2 nights. It's Sam McClure, Lloydie with Damo and is it Caro? And the next night, Eddie's on it. They do 2 nights in a row.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah. Okay, right.
Imagine being one of the 2 networks, Fox and 7, in these executive meetings, roundtable meetings, and not one of the networks came up with the concept of the overlap, where you get fans and the pundits together, and it's just someone's going to create the show.
It's lag effect, mate. Lag effect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my boss will do it, mate. He's the king. He is the king, mate.
One
of the best movers and shakers and doers in the business is he.
Yep. All right. I think the questions are sort of there. So that's that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. I'll keep tabs on that, and I'll go back and pick one out. Okay.
So, yep. Also, just a reminder,
Yep.
key rings are being mailed daily.
Great stuff.
If you haven't received your membership key ring yet, it's coming, I promise. If you would like to sign up to Blue Abroad membership, it's no longer done on YouTube. It's done via the link pinned to the live chat. That's your monthly membership. The annual one, I might put a link if you want to get your annual done up front.
Please do it.
In the chat as well. What else, Paul? Anything else on the agenda before we wrap it up?
No, I mean, look, Thursday night. For me, it's just a shame that we're going into this game off a loss in round one. I'd like it to be a little bit different. I'd like it to be us going into this game off a win, no matter how we got it. It's not. I mean, look, it's not going to change for me. I'll be there with bells and whistles, but yeah, I hate that sick feeling in the gut for Thursday. I just feel that I feel that it's going to be one of those games where, and I hope I'm completely wrong, right? That where the scoreboard looks as though we're in it and tells us that we're in it, but deep down that you're kind of not. That's my fear. That's my fear. I think personally, I think it's actually going to be a great game of football. I think it's going to be a highly entertaining game because we'll probably have Charlie back, and it'll be our home game, and there'll be a lot of fans there. Of course, it'll be over 80,000. But my fear is that it's going to be one of those type of games where we rock up. We're just kind of there on the scoreboard. It's that 2-3 goal margin, and they just keep it at arm's length the whole way, and we're just quite not good enough, and you kind of know that we're quite not good enough. So, look, prove me wrong. Prove us all wrong. Give us something to smile about on Thursday, please. Please. Give us something to smile about.
Do you remember? I remember watching a specific video. I've referenced this over the last few weeks now that we're starting to see news of this medical imaging center. Didn't we have one? Do you remember they used to wear the Lycra suits and they used to have the sensors on the body, and it was at Icon Park? Like, are we just repackaging that with a new ribbon? Is that what's happening?
Good analogy.
Because I remember at Levi Casper, it was showing the loading on one side to the other side. I'm trying to find the video. I couldn't find it. But I promise you it exists.
Yeah, it's not the worst analogy I've heard.
But you get the panettone.
People are really revved up about this footy classified stuff. Gee whiz.
It's like you get the panettone in a package, you unwrap it, then you put it in a new wrapper, and then, like you said, you give it to someone else.
It's like, when you you get a burger, right, and you ask for no mayo, right? And rather than make a new one, they just scrape the mayo off and give it back to you. Or you find a hair in your burger or in your salad, you hand it back to the waitress or the waiter, and you bring it back and it's the same salad and they've just taken the hair out. That's what it feels like.
Wait, footy classified. Let's have a look. What does it say? It says...
What is it? Same shit, different smell, different shit, same smell. One of those ones.
Where do we watch?
I'm really hoping that it's a betting probe into the club. I'm actually really hoping that it's the case.
Okay, so the tweet says, we'll have breaking news on Carlton after their disastrous start to the season. Eyeball emoji. Okay.
Oh, right.
Wait, breaking news. Let's just break this down. What could breaking news be?
Could it be Elijah Hollins? Could it be Brad Lloyd? Could it be... I've been reading here that people said there might be an altercation. There might have been an altercation. Someone been sacked. Has someone been dropped?
Big Duke. Still haven't re-upped the CFC membership, but I'd rather overdraw my credit card to winners who care. Thanks very much for signing up, mate. Also, thanks to Quentin who signed up as well. Thank you, mate. There was a bit of some text flying around, like there was a bit of argy-bargy in the change rooms after. I hope there was there? I hope there was. I don't know if it's true, but I hope there was a bit of something.
I'd be worried if there wasn't.
Yeah.
I'd be worried if there wasn't. What do you want them to say? I'm glad they had a crack at each other, but it shows you that there's some sort of disconnect.
Where was the crack at each other on the field? Is that important to you to see visually? Yeah. Like, for example, someone grabbing Harry and saying, come like shaking him a bit, or someone grabbing Cripps and, screaming at him and pointing at him, or is that important to you?
Yeah, but it's got to lead to action, right? Do it in game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll leave this to you. You had a decent message to send to me about a particular leader doing that when it was over. Would you like to go down that line of discussion?
Wait, remind me.
Jacob Wiedering post-game.
All good. The footage of Wieders addressing the playing group after the game. I'm under no illusions whatsoever. Like, that all looks good because you're on the camera. So that's all fine and well that, look, Wieders, he should be captain and all that. Mate, no one's fooling me anymore. You're fooling no one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, well done. You addressed the group on the field after the game. Like, well done. But that doesn't mean Cripps is no good as a leader or Wiedering's a better leader. They all failed in their leadership aspect on Thursday night before that final siren blew.
They did. And my fear is that they will continue to do so until proven otherwise.
Oh, now I'm scared.
It's just been we do you know what? We kind of entered this year with a little bit of trepidation, but there was not a lot of hype, and it's just bad news after bad news after bad news to start the season. Like, it's been a horrible start. It's been a shocking start. We had Sayers, and then
man, I saw this man's dick on my phone, man. It was a sign.
The guy got his butso out.
Don't tell me the stars were like just.
Look, I know. Look, you hear about that, the dick pics and all that. I know we're going back over. like, you're the president of a club. You're 50 years old. Come on, man.
I don't know if I want to react live to the news because I just don't think it's possible. I don't think I want to do that.
He got his butso out. He's a corporate figure. What is going on?
Should have known.
I must admit, I will tell you though. I must admit, the club handled that. That got put, mate. That was like on the back burner immediately.
They did. To be fair, all things being fair, they did handle it well. They did. Yeah.
I think it's because they kind of knew they had to. But see, that also goes into on the Elijah stuff, right? You've got that standard for him, but then Elijah, you just let all these rumors float about him, and it got to a point where, we hear things, right? We get messages from people, and we hear things about players and all that. And your fear is that not your fear, but it's look, benefit. I'll wait until let's wait until something's official before we hear anything. But it kept building and building and building and building. I just think you do the kid a disservice. Maybe he told them, I don't want things to come out. I don't know. We won't know, right? But I think they probably could have got on the front foot a little better and handled that a lot better than what they did, But ultimately, look, I mean, he's got the world at his hands as well. He's obviously going through some stuff. Well, you know, who are we to judge at the end of the day?
Look, it just reminded me of just the hypocrisy. It was Carlton respects when Ross Lyon was looking for the gig, but it wasn't Carlton respects when you let Luke Sayers step down as opposed to sacking him and like standing him down. Like you let that play out.
Of course. And look, again, I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but I heard things about, and look, again, I'm not judging. I suppose we've all been to that. You know, there are a lot of people have been at that point where, you know, they've maybe too much to drink or they've done illicit substances or whatever it may be, right? Like, mate, you and I, we live in the reality of the world, mate. We're not in La La Land. These things happen, right? And I don't want to cast judgment on him because that's not what I want to do, and that's not what I'm about when it comes to things like that, right? But heard things at club functions in the BNF, and heard things about coaches kind of just squashing it and putting it to one side, and along the lines of, as long as he does his job on the field, it's kind of, I don't like hearing that.
Oof.
You know, it just look at how true that is. But you know, the person who told me is, you know, you can't get any closer to people at the club, right? But they're not leaks or anything like that. It was all there for the public to see to a certain point. But what's your standard with everything when it comes to that kind of stuff? You know, and that also filters down into everything you do in work and whatnot. You know, and if you see a brother struggling, you know, you see one of your own struggling, and you see one of your own who's in a bit of a bad way, like. Sometimes it might not be an arm around the shoulder. It might be a kick up the arse. You know, well, maybe he's had a lot of kicks up the backside, and maybe they've become sick of it to a point. I don't know. I hope and I pray he gets himself right, whatever he's going through, because he's a bloody talented player, mate. Oh, what a great player he is.
Of course.
You know?
Of course.
But there's just all these tiny little things that are going on before the season has started that you're kind of worried. Oh God, is it an inkling into what might happen for the year? Oh God, this is not good. Is it going to be one of those years where things just don't quite go our way again and it all falls away because we don't really have many feel-good stories coming into the season, do we? Aside from a couple of debutants, and does that outweigh and outshine the crap that's happened before as well? I don't know.
We're 8 minutes away from the breaking news. I guess we're going to wait.
Yeah, we'll wait. Yeah, we'll stick around for it. We'll stick around for it if you're happy to stick around.
I got a question.
Yeah.
There will be a bobblehead this year, I'm guessing.
Cuts up. Oh,
Who will be the 2025 bobblehead? No, they will. Of course they will.
Surely they won't.
Of course they will.
No, come on. They won't. You reckon they will?
Mate, there will be a bobblehead.
Even Jazzy's
and if there's not one this year, maybe there's one. Who is the next bobblehead? Richard Blake Acres? No, it won't be. It won't be Blake Acres.
The next bobblehead. I'm not going. I shouldn't say it, but no, I'm not going to go there. Luke Sayers with his butzer.
Oh dear.
Oh God! All right, I'll get that out of the way. I'll get that one out of the way. Bobblehead.
The last bobblehead we did was the double bobblehead, right?
Yeah.
Sard and Ange Christou.
Big shout out to Ange.
They're voodoo dolls. They're not bobbleheads. They're voodoo dolls.
They're voodoo dolls. Who's going to get the bobblehead this year?
Wait, what is on the precipice at Carlton right now? That breaking news. I mean, Tom de Koning? Could be just Tom de Koning.
Maybe.
That's some positive news to get the people up and about.
Yeah, there you go. Righty, yeah. And is Sammy McClure on the show tonight? Is he on Footy Classified tonight?
Yes.
Okay, well, he gets good mail from the club, so I'm sure he's...
They're saying the breaking news is an off-field scandal. Who's saying this? Oh, man.
Here we go again.
Fucking...
You got the trumpet, mate? Thank you. chat. Sam McClure has details on an off-field drama. I'm going to get this out now. Hold on. I got to go. Yeah.
Brace yourselves.
Yeah.
Off-field drama. Ugh.
I tell you, mate, it's just the club is just a commercial entity. It's just a media entity. It's a commercial entity and a business entity with stories attached to it, and a business and a football club just somewhere in the horizon. It's there, but Gavin Wheel and Colombian flu swept through the club. Oh, God. Oh, dearie. Good Lord. Very good, Gav. Very good. Oh, dearie me. Well, they do say, mate, if it doesn't rain, it pours. So,
will we have breaking news? Okay. Well, we'll just tune in. Also, this week there will not be. Oh, actually, that's a talking point as well. This week there will not be a Cheer Squad raffle for an item.
I did
the Cheer Squad have made a statement basically saying, you know what, I'm going to read it out so I don't misquote it. I thought it was pretty powerful, to be honest. Man, that people power this week.
Oh, mate, yeah. John Laurinaitis, people power. Yeah, it's really up and about.
This upcoming week, we will not be holding a Cheer Squad raffle. After last night's debacle, we don't feel comfortable this week asking Carlton fans to part with their hard-earned money. Carlton fans continue to show up in record numbers. We've broken membership records 10 years in a row, likely to become 11 in a row this year. And year after year, Carlton fans keep showing up in bigger numbers and with more passion than the years prior. Instead of, again, asking Carlton fans to give, this week we are focusing on giving back to Carlton fans. Keep an eye out on our page over the weekend for our weekly on-field experience giveaways. We'll be giving 2 lucky winners a chance to bring a friend with them onto the MCG on Thursday to help raise the banner as the team runs out against the Hawks. Our love and support for this club are always unwavering and unconditional, but we get it. Carlton fans are rightly upset after last night's showing, and we don't believe asking anything more of them is the answer this week. We think it's about time Carlton fans were repaid for their faith and their dedication to our club. It's only round 1. If recent seasons have proven anything, it's that a lot can change from week to week, let alone the start of a season to the end of the season. We'll be there again next week. We'll also be spending this week rewarding the loyalty of other Carlton people however we can. Stronger together. Thought that was very powerful.
Bravo.
And I thought Joe Adamo and crew at the Almost Blues Brothers made a powerful statement. Because you know what? Would have been really easy to do that show, get the good numbers, be angry. And he chose to just say nothing. I thought it was powerful.
Yep. What's the saying? The silence is deafening.
Yep.
Magnificently articulated there by the Cheer Squad too. Magnificently articulated. That was probably one of the best statements I think I've heard from a supporter group in a long, long time. Class, not emotional. There was no rhetoric that makes your gut churn. It was just brutal, to the point, precise. It's basically a fingers to you without actually giving you the finger, basically. And I think that's what a lot of us have done this week as well. I've actually been very proud with how the majority of people have responded to it.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very proud.
I'll be honest, man. I said this in my review. I had this dread, this fear. It was similar to coming back when Collingwood beat us in 2022 at the end, like walking from the MCG to the train. I was like, oh man, it's going to be so bad. People are going to be yelling and screaming. And it was just not. It was just not that. It was obviously emotional, but it was measured. It was beautiful, and sometimes we can be our own worst enemy because we can be, a little too much, a little too emotional, and we're an easy target to be sort of pointed at and say, "Yep, look at them." I thought they were great.
Well, I like to use the saying, you've got to pick your poison. Yeah. Eventually one of them is going to kill you, right? You either care too much or you don't care at all.
Yeah.
Pick your poison. That's the way I look at these things. Righto, it's 9 o'clock. Goodness gracious me.
What is it going to be? I don't have it on. Can someone? I'm sure we're going to get messages about it here. Oh yeah, 9 now. Okay, stand by. I can't screen share during a stream to this. I don't believe.
I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought so. That's okay. It's all right. That's okay. We can update it as it goes along. That's all right.
Do you watch maths?
It's one of my guilty pleasures.
I've never watched it. This is the first season I've started watching. What a train wreck.
Oh, mate. Oh, mate.
What a train.
Mate.
Where do we go so wrong as a society? Like, what happened?
Mate. I'll tell you,
where's the honor?
It's back in the 19th century, or that. No, there's no spoilers, Jazz. Relax. It's the death of God, mate. That's what it is. Mate, I'm telling you, that's what it is. That's what it is. Whether you like it or not, it's the death of God.
Where do we go
tries
so
to create
wrong?
their own deities. The union of marriage and whatnot has just become a marketing tool by the looks of it. You know, I love the way that they build up, you know, oh, it's all going so well and look at them. And then 2 seconds later, it's just, you know, he doesn't listen to me. She doesn't listen to me.
No, when I watch them on the couch and they're saying stay or leave, I'm like, you don't really want to be there. You're there because of the opportunity to get the clout. What are you doing?
Does any who? Yes, what is that? Yeah, Nietzsche. God is dead. That's the one. Yeah, Is it Friedrich Nietzsche? See the guy that made that statement? I think that's the book I read.
I'm not sure.
James wants to see me on it. God, yeah, God is dead. Yeah, that's why these shows continue to come up.
Okay, apparently
but
it's on.
You know what? Cheap to produce, and people watch it. So why wouldn't you put it on TV?
True, that's true. Okay, I think the news is coming through. You guys can just let us know what it is as it comes out.
Emerging scandal of the club. All right, okay.
So people are watching their TV while on the phone, while with the laptop with this stream up at the same time. Like, how are you guys doing this?
I mean, what goes on? What goes on?
Scandal at Icon Park.
Hagrid from Harry Potter. It's a scandal. It's an outrage.
I got 9 now on TV. You on the laptop. Okay. BA on phone.
Thank you. Yeah. The fragmentation of media.
Exclusive sport. Club does not act on allegations. Blues won't cut ties with MC Labour. Wait, what? Sponsors?
Sponsors? Nah, okay, how could possible? That's not a scandal. That's not breaking news. Maybe it's just a big fat load of clickbait.
That would make sense.
What's it? MC Labour corruption. What? What is it?
It's a nothing. Yeah, of course
you're kidding me. You're joking me. What is it? Oh, what? Carlton's something to do with the mafia? God, shock.
Corruption allegations. Oh, well.
Oh, God.
The sponsor's relationship with mafia. Okay.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Xejaceto, mate.
Mate, come on, mate. Is that the breaking news?
MC Labour.
Oh my God. A construction company and the construction industry is linked to gangland figures. And in breaking news, the sun will rise tomorrow morning. Oh my God, mate, honestly.
The taxpayer money trail. What is it? It says the taxpayer money trail from building sites to okay. Oh, okay. All right, so it's okay. TDK hasn't signed.
Yeah, okay, right. Okay.
All right.
Well, I did get it half right that there'd be a corruption allegation or something like that, but I didn't think it was. I was more looking into a betting probe. So.
Wait, is MC Labour pulling the strings, is telling Vossi what to say in press conferences? Is that who's pulling the
What's
strings?
MC Labour got to do with Carlton?
They sponsor.
Are they a sponsor or something?
They're a big one, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well, Qatar sponsors the Sydney Football Club. Qatar Airways sponsors the Sydney Football Club. So what's I don't know, mate. That's a nice bit of clickbait. They sucked us in, put it that way. Yep.
All right. Well, guys, it's been a great session. Thanks for joining us here on the show. Paul, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for giving us the platform, as usual, to vent our frustrations during the week. And hopefully it's the polar opposite after Thursday night. I'd love for you to have a fan cam nice and early in the season. That is the opposite of what we had on Thursday night, where we're all smiling and our season is back on track. It's unlikely, but so was a Richmond win on Thursday night. That was very unlikely too, but it happened.
True. All right, guys, you have a great evening. Business as usual tomorrow. Preview, footy abroad, Wednesday team show, Thursday fan cams, back into it. Have a great one. Much love to everyone. Go Blues.
Well, these are all choices and decisions that players make. They make a decision to throw their helmet. They make a decision to grab and throw another guy on the ground, whether it's controlling your emotions, because when you're emotional, you make bad decisions. All right, so you got to play with intensity, but not out of control. And we got to make better choices and decisions. Just, your question would be like somebody asking me, how are you going to get this guy to quit swinging at balls over his head in baseball? It's a bad decision. It's a bad choice. You can tell them, you can show them, you can tell them, you can show them, and eventually you place somebody else in their place, because they're not dependable. It's accountability. I have a job to do. I told the story today. Maybe we need more of this. When I was growing up, I worked for my dad. All right, so every day at dinner, he would do that to the table. And there was a reckoning for everything that you were supposed to do that day. So if you were supposed to cut the grass, did you sweep the walk? Did you trim? Did you put the mower away? Did you clean the mower? And if you didn't do any of those things right, you're going to do it again. We might need a little of that somewhere along the line.